do it for the man of the year.
Wait, so is your body count really 30?
Juicy!
Well, it's 30 as of like 2 weeks ago.
Yes. It's okay.
She wanted to fuck.
Mm.
And I can't say no. I'm incapable of that.
Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nerd Chronicles. With your host, the socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, speaking. And, y'all, we have just gone to part 3 of the Knots Count discussion. And I basically want to discuss more about the situations. First off, with I forgot the set of name. I believe it was the first lady, the only OF lady that had 100 bodies in one day. Let me try and make sure I actually find her name. Bear with me 1 second as I mainly do. Let me try and make sure I find her. Let me make sure if I can get this young OF lady. I know it is Lily Phillips, right? 100 men in one day. Condoms and all right? And there's a long documentary actually detailing this, and you can see the craziness that's definitely there. And I do want to also discuss more about Bonnie Blue. 1,000 men literally in one day. Coots getting pounded on about. One full day full of insanity for both of these two women, both OnlyFans models. One now in foreigners is one got banned. And I do want to try and look into the high knots count, definitely from the male side as well. So gather around, ladies and gentlemen, as this entire ratchet fuckery is going to be extremely, extremely juicy. Juicy!
Surgery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow.
That's why my pussy.
So yours was out
Well,
as well.
I had one side that was a lot bigger than the other.
Yours was out as well because I noticed
mismatch.
Bonnie's one's out.
Oh wow.
I noticed
When did you get
Bonnie's
that
one's
done?
out.
I think it was my first ever big purchase with my money from OnlyFans. I got it, I think, when I was
purchase.
19.
Good purchase,
19.
Yeah, 20 maybe?
man. Oh, no, I'm
I can't
going.
remember.
Okay.
Juicy!
Lily Phillips, you got the nice bunda in the world. Lily Phillips, I want you to be my girl. Lily Phillips, you got the nice bunda in the world.
Juicy!
Not for the weak girls, if I'm honest. It was hard.
Having sex with 100 men in a single day was not what OnlyFans model Lily Phillips expected it to be. After offering her male fans a chance to sleep with her, the 23-year-old details the not safe for work experience in a recent documentary with YouTuber Josh Peters. And according to Lily, the 14-hour stunt in which she gave each man 2 to 5 minutes to do the deed was not for the weak. She admits in a video published December 7th,
It's not for the weak girls, if I'm honest. It was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry.
Okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute.
In fact, Lily had to excuse herself to cry in another room shortly after performing the feat, saying that it was definitely more intense than she thought. She can be seen getting emotional while explaining that she constantly feels pressure to give the men a good time.
I guess the interactions when I'd have to stop them early and you'd have to stand on business and be like, I'm so sorry, you got to go. And the awkward interaction of you feeling pressure to have to make them come if you haven't spent enough time with them and feeling like they didn't, you didn't give them a good time because they only got 2 minutes.
The London-based influencer adds that several men even tried guilt-tripping her into extending their time together.
Yeah, and it's hard, I think, having the interactions with them when they're like, what, you're not going to make me finish? I've come all this way. Kind of guilt-tripping me a little bit. I think sometimes feeling so robotic. By the, I think the 30th, when we're getting on a bit, I've got a routine of how we're going to do this. And it just sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal at all.
And while her room was littered with condoms at the end of the night, Lily recounts how she's feeling both physically and mentally by the end.
Surprisingly, downstairs is not really sore.
Okay.
It's more just tired.
And this isn't the end for Lily. She revealed in a November video shared on X, "Last week I did 101 guys. This was just the warm-up, because in February I'm going to be the first person ever to reach 4 digits of..."
All right, y'all. So let's take a moment to dig into Lily Phillips, you know, the professional OnlyFans 304. Clearly we know she belongs to the streets. You know, I don't have to really actually discuss more about it. Not really hating on what she does. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely what it is. Actually just make a profit. You know, I have no problem. Get your money, girl. No issues whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? I do want to take into context of digging into, you know, her stuff and trying to utilize Lily as an example with having 100 bodies actually getting ran through in one day. And you're realizing, I've watched the clip on YouTube dealing with the interview with Phillips that actually dictates that. It actually just shows and documents the whole process and experience in regards with this endeavor of 100 men, literally in one night, from 9 in the morning all the way to 11 at night up at like a local suburban town in the United Kingdom. Okay, so it's a lot to actually literally go down. You see the physical toll that actually mainly hit, you know, definitely the cum actually coming through the eyes, actually burning it out. But what's not really thoroughly discussed is the psychological toll, and it depends on the person, depends on the woman too, right? That a woman mainly deals with when she's mainly ran through this quick, this shortly. And not only that, you know, the pressure as, you know, a professional, you know, escort, you know, OnlyFans content creator, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's prostitution or even a porn star, you know, they feel like all this heat whenever they actually have to deliver on expectations of their male viewers and try and make sure they give them a good time and try and make sure that they finish and climax and all that, you know what I'm saying, do within the time limit, because they're mainly concerned about their bottom line, not really more so about deep connection with their viewers or something that actually is, they feel it's more interesting. You know what I'm saying? They feel that the scrambled eggs is basically dealing with the task at hand. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot to actually really take in. And I say this again, this is not to hate on Lily Phillips. I know she's definitely like a wonderful woman, definitely like outside of this whole ordeal. And I know that she's doing some like good things at heart. I'm not really hating on the woman whatsoever. No issues whatsoever, no issues with Bonnie Blue, which I'm gonna get to in a little bit as well. I do want to actually try to utilize and actually analyze the activities to actually just give warnings and actually try and learn and give men freedom of choice on what they should do with their life, on how they should actually approach these things, so they actually basically choose to actually go that route with popping them out or just utilize them for mainly recreational use only. But again, we've been hearing not only wrecks them physically, expectations can get them wrecked, you know, parent bonding can mainly wreck them, as you definitely see scientifically. And it's not just limited with men, but not just limited with women, but also men too. As women are the more vulnerable when it comes to these types of things. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's really, really hard for anybody, or even men. And I can understand why a lot of men would not even take, you know, dating like a porn star or someone that's affiliated with OnlyFans very, very seriously, want to actually try and get with a serious relationship or even try to marry somebody of Lily Phillips' caliber because of all the stuff that she mainly came through. And we don't know if she's going to actually thoroughly commit to that particular person or if she's going to actually try to move on from guy to guy. We don't know, depending on that person's standards, you know what I'm saying? But the physical aspect, and not only that, you see the risk when it comes to STDs, right? They start off with no protection, which is actually kind of literally crazy and insane, right? That can be a big risk as well when it comes to STIs or possible pregnancies, especially when you're dealing with pre-cum. You know what I'm saying? That could literally actually put a huge wreck. And it was literally like one guy at a time throughout the whole day. Now, if that part was bad, imagine how much worse it would get when you involve literally 1,000 men in one day. Literally.
You slept with 1,000 men, not 999 in 12 hours.
Yeah, well, 1,057. I hit the 1,000 and there's still 57 men queuing. I couldn't say to them, sorry guys, I know you've just put in a long shift waiting, you've brought your packed lunch, you need to go home. Of course, I was like, welcome in.
This is the girl that just found out her fiance was in my queue in January. Learn your lesson, honey. You should have been on your knees a lot sooner.
All right, early January this year, we have another OnlyFans model by the name of Bonnie Blue, right? In which she did 1,000 men in 12 hours. Let me repeat, 1,000 men in 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? You know, they were doing their little trains, 3-sums, 4-sums, 5-sums, 6-sums, even like way worse. It's literally like Lexi Phillips situation on steroids, okay? That's how insane it is, all right? And having that, she's actually getting ran through heavily, all at once, down to the core, you know what I'm saying? While she's actually out here mainly throwing their now ex-girlfriends and ex-wives, in which they partners were part of that 1,000 men challenge in 12 hours, right?
You okay? Who's going first then?
Me.
You're going first? Or are you going to be selfish and do 2 minutes?
Selfish.
You're selfish?
Yeah.
And what would you do to me in 2 minutes? Tell me. Are you going to destroy me? I think we should put it to the test. Did you manage to destroy me though in those 2 minutes?
Not in the 2 minutes, but if I had longer with you, you get destroyed.
Exactly. He's going to come back and go.
It's a good job I had to check IDs for the 1,057 because I now need to reach out to them for child support. God, this is going to make me rich.
Bonnie Blue ends up actually belittling those exes here, saying, oh, you should have fucked your man harder, you know, you should have piped them down more. Now, to be fair, to be 100% fair, you know, there are cases where even if, you know, the wife or the girlfriend actually did all that and she fucked them better, right? That doesn't really fully guarantee that he's going to stay loyal. It's possible that he still could cheat. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the mindset of certain men. Not all men, but few men, you know what I'm saying, that struggle with pair bonding. And we're going to get to that definitely in the end of this video, right? She belittles them. And mind you, relationships ain't just really about sex all the time, you know? All due respect to Bonnie Blue, but she's really a straight up hoe. You know what I mean? She clearly for the streets, just like Lily Phillips. You know what I'm saying? Not mad at what she's doing, not hating based on her profession at all, but that's what she mainly does. She's a straight up hoe. You know what I'm saying? She don't really know too much about relationship work and all these things with like interrelationships and marriages. You know what I'm saying? There's so much more to relationships and marriages other than sex. You know what I'm saying? Sex is a part of it. However, it's not the end all be all. And that's what Bonnie Blue does not see. So I gotta try and put that in perspective. And when it comes to the women that are in intimate relationships that have been cheated on with her, that were part of that challenge, right? I fully understand, and I understand and I respect those that actually do have their self-worth and actually kick their men out the curb. You know what I mean? I fully understand it. It's within their right to do so. I have no problem with it whatsoever. All right? But here's the crazy part as to why Bonnie Blue got banned from OnlyFans. Okay? Let me go and look into further detail. Okay? And like she coming out here with pride, soulless eyes, up in the whole camera, basically, you know, according to OnlyFans, okay? You know what I'm saying? According to OnlyFans, and we're gonna actually look into that. OnlyFans, the reason why Bonnie Blue was barred from OnlyFans, right? Because Bonnie here was planning to do a challenge of having 2,000 men in 24 hours, okay? And she was trying to do it up in like a glass room somewhere in extreme conditions. OnlyFans noticed that and they're like, nah, we can't actually have people actually doing that type of risk in regards with that. Basically, he was actually trying to plan to break her own record for sleeping with 2,000 men literally in one day. Y'all see this, right? That is crazy. This mofo is literally crazy up in the head, right? And the stunt went by for all the wrong reasons. And OnlyFans had the guidelines that they will not publish any videos that showcases, you know, an OF model actually doing extreme conditions that could risk the lives of themselves or others. That's why she got barred. You know what I'm saying? And to add insult to injury, we got another OF creator out here that actually went through like extreme pain and had some health concerns while trying to beat Bonnie Blue's 1,000 man a day challenge.
Permanently banned from OnlyFans following accusations of posting and intending to produce extreme content. The adult film star, who was internationally known for allegedly breaking a world record by sleeping with 1,057 men, was removed after the platform's spokesperson stated, "Extreme challenge content is not available on OnlyFans and is not permitted under our acceptable use policy and terms of service." The spokesperson added that any breach results in content or account deactivation, leading to this permanent action. The ban coincides with Blue's plans to break her own record by being penetrated by 2,000 men in a single day during a filmed event she dubbed a petting zoo. Blue aimed to allow up to 2,000 volunteers to engage with her while she was bound and gagged inside a glass box. No limits. No breaks. Just me, in a box and ready to be used, she teased fans before the stunt was ultimately canceled due to the backlash it received on social media. The criticism surrounding Blue's explicit content proposal prompted her to withdraw the stunt and have her OnlyFans profile deactivated. Previously, she was also prohibited from sharing video footage of her marathon with over 1,000 men due to violations of the platform's rules. In addition to her OnlyFans ban, Blue faces travel restrictions. Her visas to Australia and Fiji were revoked in November 2024 after she violated visitor pass terms by planning to engage in paid work while in those countries. She intended to film content with young men during Schoolies Week, a celebratory period for recent high school graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another OnlyFans star by the name of Annie Knight that was unfortunately left with serious damage and was hospitalized after dealing with 583 women in a day. And it comes after the fact that they found out she was doing it while she was suffering through endometriosis. Okay? And I'm looking into all of this on my phone to make sure I get everything that's definitely there. And yeah, y'all see what I'm actually going to come up in there, up in the YouTubes, right? Up in the phone. Y'all literally check this out. This is just wild shit.
Her initial hopes for a meager 200 were drastically surpassed when the day of the event came around and a staggering 2,000 men had registered to participate.
Because you got some men that yearning to lead their blue balls.
And of those who did, some reports say 600. She decided to call it a day after going for a marathon of 6 hours and 580 men.
But don't worry. She says it was empowering. I just got railed by 583 guys in 6 hours. I was going for 200, so I was beyond shocked when that was done. There's actually people still arriving as I was leaving, but I had to get back to my dog. But that was just the best day ever. That's gotta be a world record. If that's not a world record, I'm even more disturbed.
And people definitely had thoughts on her decision.
Hey, let's not go do all this, man. I know everybody got their own thoughts, but they had some issues because allegedly that she was dealing with endometriosis. But now we see the fiance situation. I'm actually watching this
is engaged. She met her fiance, Henry Brayshaw, about a decade ago while working together at a pub, where they developed a friendship that evolved over the years. Although they briefly dated a few years after meeting, they only became romantically involved again at the end of last year, realizing their connection had grown stronger. In March 2025, while on vacation in Cancun, Brayshaw confessed his love to Knight, and they became engaged 1 week later. They are planning to marry on Australia's coast in 2026, and it appears he supports her line of work wholeheartedly.
Yes, of course, I'm still doing OF. Henry has always been supportive of my career. He understands that I'm a workaholic. I love my work. I love my job. I love everything about it. He understands that I have goals I want to achieve and things that I want to do, and he fully supports that. 100%.
Annie told Us Weekly that he was actually at work the day of the event, but he called me in the morning, wished me luck, said, "Make us proud, have fun, be safe." He then called that night after Annie finished the event and asked how things went, to which Annie told him everything. She shared with the publication that he was really stoked that she went above and beyond her original number, adding, "He was proud of me for completing it because I think he was a little bit worried I wouldn't be able to and that I'd be upset that I couldn't do it. He was just really happy for me." But apparently not everything can be all sunshine and roses. Annie revealed that the event had, understandably, taken a physical toll on her body.
A few days later, emergency room.
Annie took to her Instagram to share the news, writing, "Being hospitalized after taking 583 men in a day was not on my 2025 bingo card. And frankly, people were not surprised. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The fact that she seems to be proud to publicize that she ended up in the hospital for such a stupid stunt says a lot about her state of health. Very sad, actually. What a waste of hospital resources. Feel sorry for the medical staff that had to treat her. The hell do you think?
No, they're doing their job as they should. You know, they in the ER unit had any business. You know, there could be a lot worse things than what Annie Knight has been doing now. So anything can happen up in the hospital. You know, I work in the medical field, so I can understand that. That's expected. You know, we're not fazed by it. We fully understand. All right, you ain't got to feel sorry for us because we're doing our jobs.
Going to happen.
She started experiencing severe cramping, heavy bleedings, and symptoms from a condition she talked about before, endometriosis.
Ooh.
She says,
that confirms it. You know, endometriosis, man, that's definitely something that actually involves with like the OBGYN vaginal stuff. That is literally no joke, you know, and I've heard about certain women that struggle with pregnancy while dealing with that condition. So it's just very unfortunate. Definitely, hopefully Annie Knight has like a very efficient recovery in regards to all this. And, you know, not really mad about what they do as long as the fiance's happy about it, as long as he's happy about it. That's all that matters. It ain't affecting me, right? But for y'all, it could be something that you may need to currently think about and actually deeply think over when it comes to certain standards. But before I do that, I wanted to start jigging with the gentlemen that have, you know, the hundreds of knots counts and the thousands of knots counts. Now, in regards to the men having extremely high knots counts, okay, hundreds to the thousands, maybe in the millions, who knows? Right? No shade to them either. All right? It's slightly different due to the fact that they mainly givers. You know, they shoot out sperm inside the woman. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what, like, you know, the male functions actually designed to do, you know, during scrambled egg intercourse. Right? Sexual intercourse. Okay?
Healing,
you know, when you're actually seeing multiple women all at one time, you know, even their pair bonding could be affected as well, just like with the women's. Except it'll be like a little bit longer. You know, that's why you're seeing the dudes that have like the high body counts, especially those on social media. You know, many of them, you know, they talk about actually open relationships, you know, on their end and closed on the woman's end, you know, due to stuff like this, because they have trouble actually period bonding and making themselves exclusive with that one particular person for a very, very long time. Okay? And they would have to literally go through therapy for years upon years on end and lay off a FAP and actually clap the cheeks for a while to make sure that their brain mechanisms are on like the right spectrums. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand that aspect realistically. But even with those types of men that have those high notch counts and still upping their notch counts down to the day, you know, I'm not saying this for every man, but I know some men have that trouble. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand why they would take that route of like having the open relationship and open marriage on their end and closed end when it comes to the women. So it's not just the women actually affected by notch count. Now, what can we learn in all of this, right? You know what I'm saying? Yes, I understand certain people, and as I said before in the last video, I know, forgive me if I'm catching myself being hypocritical. I know in the last video, when it comes to a general standpoint, when it comes to a vast majority, you know what I'm saying? Your average person will have like body counts within the double digits. Sometimes even less, sometimes within 10 partners. Sometimes it could be maybe 10 to 50, you know what I mean? Maybe 10 to 40, around 17. Depends on the partner that you're dealing with, right? But when I talk about the 100 knots count, the 1,000 knots counts, those extremes, which many people won't be able to attain. Few people will actually be able to attain that number. I'm talking about those extremes and the ones that actually do those things blatantly. Then yes, I do gotta agree with the red pillars basically on this. These are the women, in my opinion. These are the people, in my opinion, that you gotta be very wary when you're around them and when you have everything in exclusive relationships, especially when I'm actually speaking my case in the men. You know, these types of women that go through types of extremes, they should not be literally taken seriously, in my personal opinion, recreational use only. That's my personal opinion, right? Now, I can't speak for every single man to actually do that, because I know there's a man that's currently in a single relationship right now with that particular woman that's having like herself mainly ran through and getting herself for the streets. But again, it's not my place to try to dictate what that man should be or should not be doing, because that's his life. That's not mine. All I'm saying is, in my personal opinion, it's extremely risky. You know what I'm saying? But yes, even if you have women like she do all these things all in one day, it's still unknown. Yes, it's possible that you guys could get 500 over a course of a year or even a couple years. But realistically, you're not going to be able to actually get that number. The theory that I actually gave still stands. At the end of the day, it's not really as much as body count or knots count. At the end of the day, it's more so about the mindset of a particular person. If she's whether or not they see they're still living in chaos, they're still living in trauma, where they're not like their personal issues have been resolved, whether or not they actually went through therapy by a professional mental health specialist or psychiatrist to make sure that they're mainly up in the right path, you know, and if they're not, they're unwilling to do that, you know what I'm saying? Irregardless of body counts, this should not be the person. This should not be the women, when I'm speaking with the men, that you should literally be dealing with if she's not emotionally and psychologically healed. You know what I'm saying? And yes, body count could be a minor part of that, but again, it's not the end-all, be-all situation, and with the men too. Body count is very, very minute part of it. It's mainly so when you actually deal with a person's mindset, you know what I'm saying, where they're actually going to be faithful and committive, you know, does he have any traumas that he's yet to actually resolve, those types of things. You know what I'm saying? Those are the real more important ordeals, you know. If they got a body count and you don't really feel that comfortable, keep your mouth shut, ghost them, let them be, move on to the next person. And especially with the men, right? A lot of men are actually way too concerned and way too overbearing with like women's body count all the time, you know. If it really does concern that much, you ain't got to say nothing to that woman. Keep your mouth shut, walk away, ghost her, or focus on other people, you know. You ain't gotta put all her business mainly on Front Street. You know what I mean? That's clearly unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Let these folks go, man. Let these folks be. You know what I'm saying? Because relationships, they're a combination of sex, you know, intimacy, spending time with one another, having fun, learning how to work through conflict together. These types of things, you know. It's not just all external all the time. It's mainly a lot about the internal as well as a person's character too. You know what I'm saying? And learning how to evolve together on the same unison over time. You know what I mean? And the people that actually complain about, oh, dating sucks, they be whining and bitching about the opposites all day, you know what I mean? Not even actually getting themselves, trying to prove themselves, actually getting themselves going to therapy. These are the people that you should not be actually mainly taking advice from. And just literally just disregard all that stuff, working yourself, you know what I mean? Working your internal, get yourself more comfortable at your door, talking to people socially, you know what I'm saying? Go seek a therapist. That's what you need to go. So go seek a therapist. Try to help rewire your brain. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are trying to sniff what mistakes have you made so that the next time it comes around where you see somebody that's interested in you, you learn to get better at it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. All right. I don't really need to say more about this whole knots count scenario. I think, to people that are actually overly concerned with it, you ain't got to actually put people out front street in summation, move on with your life, go see other people. All right? I just think that actually trying to ask somebody about knots counts, whether it's on the first date or even in public, to me is just really, really unnecessary. And I'm going to leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. Christopher Paul from the Chronicles is signing out. Deuces.
Let's hear it for the band of the year.
I'm hella good looking. I get hella hoes. So what the fuck you talking about? Nigga, I'm just not interested in you. Bro, I probably fucked half of your friends you don't even fucking know. I feel like you don't even understand it. I got some of your people you actually probably know I've been fucking on. I fucked at least 190 women. I get bitches. What are you talking about? I've been on some respectful shit to you, but to be honest, some of the shit you saying as a female, definitely you're a whore. Just straight up, you're definitely a whore. Straight up, fucking 3 guys, fucking 2 guys, that's whore mentality. You're a whore. You're a female, that's a whore. You know what I'm saying? Females should not be doing it. You don't even respect you or respect your body. How the fuck you gonna say that? Be disrespectful and shit like that. And the thing about me is I was cool with you and I was respectful, but downplaying on some shit is crazy, nigga. I'm too pretty, too good looking. I get too much pussy for you to even say some shit, especially to me. You feel me?